So in my last video, we were retopping the back deck, and after that, moving on to the front deck, we come to find that it was more severely damaged than we originally thought, and we wound up demolishing the whole thing and starting over. So today I'm going to use a Harbor Freight CME 35 and pour some footings for the rebuild. Now, a lot of guys, I was doing a lot of research on this, building codes and how other people are using these mixers, etc. And what I found is they were all using wheelbarrows or buckets to move the mix after it came out of the mixer. And the big question that came to mind was, why? Why handle that more than once? So what I wound up doing was taking some plywood and scrap 2x6 and making a chute so that once the mix is ready in the mixer, I can just pour it straight into the footing hole. Now, a lot of guys have been asking me, well, why are you going to all that trouble? Why aren't you just dry pouring? And that leads into part of what happened with the original deck. The contractors we hired to do that did dry pour. This is an example of what we pulled out of the ground. You can see where the 4x4 did sit in it. It's been completely rotted out. We found this 2 inches underground because it's not nearly big enough for the soil conditions, and the end, which is broken off here, but it came to a point, and so the weight of the deck just over time shoved it into the ground where the water could then rot the upright. So dry pours out. So and I'm not going to get into specifics because everywhere's different, but a couple of things you want to be careful about is when I like to use the sonotubes because it gives a nice rigid form, because when you get to the bottom of the hole, you want to make sure the sonotube extends beyond your frost line, and then you want to make sure the bottom has no loose material in it and it is as flat as you can get it, so that it doesn't do the sinking because it's pointed. Okay, so that being said, first we got to do some prep work and then we'll get to doing concrete. The first thing we're going to need are some 1-inch spacers for the standoffs for the post bases. So I'm just going to rip down a piece of wood on the table saw. One thing about doing this concrete, I'm using 60-pound bags because frankly I don't want to lift 80-pound bags. But you want to make sure that you're using a respirator, because when you pour the concrete into the mixer, it is going to kick up dust and you don't want to be breathing that. So here we go. Now, as you can see, once mixer is empty, There's still some concrete left in the chute, but a piece of 2x6 will take care of that. And now we're ready for a couple more. Now a couple other points. When I put these sonotubes in, I used a level to make sure the tops were level so that when I poured the concrete, it would fill evenly. The next thing is we have to find the center of this so we know where to put our brace. So to do that, it's just simple math. There's one. There's the other direction. So the center is right there. And then I'm alternating the directions of these, but we'll get to that in a second. So the next thing you do is take the spacers we made, lay them across the form, and just push your post base in. Give it a little shake, like get concrete around the vertical tangs. And now you might be asking, okay, so how do you make sure it's straight? Because I'm alternating the direction of these, I use a 4x4 block and then just post top set loose, and then I can take a 2x4 and just lay across, and oh, he's crooked, so we just give him a turn, and once this 2x4 lays in there correctly, he's straight, and we let the concrete set. What I found with this mixer is that while it's a 3.5 cubic foot mixer, putting more than two 60-pound bags at a time in it, it tends to jump around more than I'm comfortable with because of the weight. So you're going to stick with 2 bags at a time. I hope this video has been helpful, and next time we'll be starting on the framing for this project.